Hello, I'm Tom Anselm, and welcome to another installment of a Boomer's Journal online edition. So here it is, Advent. The very word itself derived from the Latin adventus, meaning coming. The Messiah is coming to us as a helpless child. Prepare the way of the Lord, said his cousin Johnny, one of history's most famous wilderness survivors. So why then, with such a joyous occasion of the coming of the Messiah to prepare for, is the predominant color purple? Purple vestments on the clergy, the church banners, the candles in the Advent wreath. I used to think it was to denote royalty, as in the kingship of Jesus. But more recently, I listened to a crazy priest named Father Dave on this very YouTube forum. He said it was a way to remind us of penitence. And so it makes sense, this color, as we are preparing ourselves, cleansing our souls, as a Savior comes into the world. Father Dave talks about how to do Advent. He offers 4 things that we can do to make this season work for us. They have to do with our relationships, with our God, with ourselves, with our neighbor, and with our enemies. First, with our God. He suggests taking the Gospel of Luke, which conveniently contains 24 chapters, and starting on December 1st, reading 1 chapter a day. Luke has the best version of the infancy narrative. He starts with the story of Mary's cousin, Elizabeth, and her husband, Zechariah, as they experience the miracle of childbirth in their old age. And I do mean old age. Then the visit by Gabriel, the archangel, to the young Mary, and so on until her son's ascension. Father Dave says, what better way to prepare than to begin your season with the Word? Next, your relationship with yourself. So you're reading the scriptures. That can't hurt, right? But you can do more. Take some time to look at yourself. Examine your life. Are you, to borrow from the Army recruiting slogan, being all that you can be with regard to your faith? In most cases, we find ourselves lacking here. I know I do. So what can I do? Well, he suggests following the purple penitence route of sacrifice. Fasting, more prayer time, slowing down even in the season when the world is speeding up, taking the opportunity to listen, even amidst all the holiday clutter and clatter. Whatever works for you, to borrow from Nike, just do it. And then your neighbor. Well, you may already be generous. Most people are, really. You can't up the ante a bit, maybe? Give more alms. Share a smile. Look to the right and left to see who is in need, not just physically, but spiritually as well. Try to give a little more of yourself, of your time, if you can. And finally, wait for it, your enemies, your relationship with your enemies. Here's a challenge of ultimate generosity. Forgive them. Yeah, right there in the Lord's own prayer, he says to forgive those who have wronged us if we expect to be forgiven. Tough stuff, but talk about a quid pro quo from the guy who was the king of forgiveness. This is always the hardest for me. I'm working on it, seems like every day. Heck, there's so much evil out there, so much stupidity. People can be really jerks, right? But then I think of how Jesus handled this. He had a ton of haters to deal with. And while I don't think he really liked the Pharisees or the Romans or the doubters, he did love them, and he forgave them. Even those guys who flogged him and put nails in his body and hung him on a tree to die. So if he can do that, who am I not to do the same? Well, there we have it. Some practical ideas on how to do Advent. And now, a quick song. Maranatha. 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 Maranatha, Maranatha. He came to us, a little child, God's only Son, came to us to save our souls. Maranatha, 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 Maranatha. Have a good Advent.